Hello, peoples.
Dun, dun,
Let's
dun.
get some starting music.
We're here. We're queer. Get used to it. Wrong show. Sorry.
Whoops.
Whoopsie.
There we go. Perfect. All right. Enter pretenders. All right, JT, you know the drill. Give me 1 second here. I'll be golden.
Ready when you give me the word?
I did. You're not paying attention to the chat. So we'll do that again.
I didn't see anything in chat.
In the show chat. In the show host chat. Let's try that again, shall we?
Not saying that.
See. All right, so we'll try that intro again, is what we're going to do.
Yeah. I had the wrong chat open.
We'll try that again.
Oh, by the way, clip that.
Yeah, right. Clip that big time, because, that deserved it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's try it again. But first, I want to thank Lady Death for subscribing for 41 straight months. Thank you, Lady Death, as always. And JT, are you ready?
I'm watching the show chat now. Discord show chat. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Avenger Pretenders. That's right, the Geek and the Redneck, Sully and JT, are here once again to review things inside and outside of the MCU. Tonight, we are going to be reviewing Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 5 and Ms. Marvel Episode 2. So, get your adult beverage, get it whatever it is you want to drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Sully, it's all yours.
Oh, I thank you now that we got that right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Avenger Pretenders. I'm your host, Sully. With me, as always, is my partner in crime, JT Hollis. And boy, where to start? Brand new podcast where it's the first time we ever actually have to talk about two shows at once.
This is the first time they stacked two of them on us.
It really is. And I mean, honestly, last week we did pretty good. At least I think we did pretty good.
We were only 5 minutes over the time that we wanted to hit, which was an hour and a half.
Right. Well, actually, and we were kind of done early. Well, you were done early because you had some Sully effect issues, not caused by me.
I got hit by a Sully hurricane is what happened.
You just lost everything.
My mind, my computer, I lost a monitor because of it.
It was just gone, just plain gone. But the good thing is you're here this week, so yay to that. And
no storms.
But so first, I need to ask you, what was your rating for Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 4?
Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 4, to me, was a great episode. I really, really enjoyed it. Answered a lot of questions.
It certainly did.
Had some really freaking awesome fight scene.
It really did. That was cool.
The one thing that I had an issue with was how much he was struggling. No, but then I remind myself that, hey, he's rusty. He hasn't been practicing.
Yeah.
But how much he was struggling with stopping the window from imploding when they were fighting in the hallway underwater and the laser hit the window. That I had a tad bit of an issue with. But overall, it was great. I loved it. 4.5. 4.5 sabers for me.
All right, 4.5 lightsabers. So that was good. So we're so far we're on the same page when it comes to this. Whoops, wrong button. So which is good. We're on the same page. Obi-Wan Kenobi is a great show right now, and we'll get into that in a little bit later because we're going to end the show with that.
Well, and the really weird thing is we're on the same page looking at two different books.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because you're the insider and I'm the outsider, but we're still hitting on the same scale. That's kind of scary.
We certainly are.
I'm not sure if I like that or not.
I like it. I think it's pretty cool, especially since the redneck in you is slowly.
Well, but we're talking Star Wars here.
I know.
When we get, I'm all about Star Wars. I'm not, the Star Wars geek, but I do love Star Wars. I love the original 3.
Yep.
I love the pre-3. I enjoyed.
You like Jar Jar Binks?
Bad Batch. I enjoyed watching Bad Batch.
Can't wait.
I love Jar Jar Binks. I think Jar Jar Binks is on the same level. Well, maybe not quite the same level as this little guy right here.
Good old Grogu. Okay.
So, but yeah, when it comes to the MCU, I'm getting there. I'll never be the geek that you are when it comes to the MCU and stuff, but I'm getting there. I'm working on it.
You're getting there, which is good. Which is good. Which means we're just going to start with that. We're going to start with Ms. Marvel Episode 2. And first off, I don't exactly know where they're going with this right now. And I've already said my grievance and my one thing is, they changed her origin a little bit by not making her an Inhuman. And I don't know why. But I have a feeling because of this episode that they might touch up on that a little bit more. But I'm not 100% sure. Can
I say something before we go any further? And it kind of applies to what your grievance is.
Mm-hmm.
I think they went a little political.
A little?
I think they went a little political with the Miss Marvel. Obviously, I can't say for the upcoming episodes, but Kay and I looked at each other the other night after we got done watching it and said, you know what? You could take about 35 minutes out of that show.
And it was this episode.
Yeah. Keep the other 10 to 15 minutes. And that's awesome. That's crap.
Yeah.
We didn't need that.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. So either political or woke-ish.
Yeah.
So I'll let you decide.
There was political overtones to this episode, but there was also a lot of Middle Eastern religion overtones too, which does tie into the politicalness of the episode, and it really does because if you think about it, we are not up with the Muslim religion. We're not, we're not.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and preach that one religion is better than the other,
But if we wanted to be up on the Muslim religion and faith and everything, we could be.
Oh, absolutely, we would be.
We know what we want to know, and we're good with that.
But that's where we would ask somebody who is a part of that religion to bring us up to speed and talk to us about it. Would that be for this show? No, probably not. Do I think it represents their religion very well? Absolutely it does. Absolutely. Yeah, for this type of episode, there's just enough for us that we understand, we know what's going on, just because of things in the past, real life things. And this is a culture. It's a specific culture. And if you don't know that culture, the first thing you're going to do is be like, what the freaking hell are they doing here? Like, what? We get it. Absolutely, we get it. So
the biggest issue I had was I didn't really feel like it applied to and or added to the episode.
But in a lot of ways it did, and we'll get there. Want to say hi to Carol, who is chiming in as well. Hello, Carol. Thanks for tuning in as always. We always appreciate your support. Same with Lady Death, who's subscribed for the record-setting 41 months. So thank you. She definitely deserves something, especially after all of this that's been going on with her personally. So we recognize it, and we hope everything turns out all right. Now, when it comes to this episode, Crushed, this is the episode where it's the superhero cliche episode. You got to start working out like a superhero.
I loved that. That was one part that I did love about the episode was, testing out and trying to figure out
what you can
how she makes the little glass steps appear and how to keep them up. And, when you step on it and it blows up or, you step on it and it actually stays. I enjoyed that part. That was fun and it was funny.
It was, and I loved it, especially since it was basically her going, okay, what can I do? Is it limited to just snapping my fingers or whatever? And obviously we still haven't seen her full potential when it comes to this. And this is, again, I'm not 100% sure where they're actually going with it because she's an Inhuman. And
right.
And that's where my concern starts happening because she's got a lot more different powers when it comes to this. But in this episode, aside from the training, she's also meeting new people. There are more people coming into her play here, and one of which is if I remember his name correctly, Cameron. But it's spelt with a K. He's one of her mosque's members, but he also comes from money. But he doesn't like flaunt it or everything. He's the potential love interest of the show.
Was he a mosque member though? Because yes. I don't remember him being at the mosque. I don't think he's a mosque member, but he does go to he observes the religion. I don't think he goes to that mosque yet.
Yeah.
But he does observe and everything. And he's the new guy. He's the new kid that just came into the school. He's the new senior.
Yes. He's the new
that just came into the school. So I don't think he's in the mosque yet. He may be. I don't know.
And he's just getting to the point of meeting people, which most new kids when they're in school, that's oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this type of thing,
Right.
So it's there. We know it's there. It's happening, and Kamala obviously notices the wonderful car that he's driving,
right?
And he offers to let her drive it. I'm like, what are you doing?
Even after hearing about how she failed her driver's test, and he was still offered to help her.
I'll teach you how to drive. It'll be great.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much. But it is one of those things where it's teenagers. This is where the high school drama comes into play, so to speak. So from there, as she's training and doing all this interesting things, meeting the new guy, she's starting to see visions. Which, I don't know about you, but I was a little confused on the vision.
If you were confused, then just think about where I was.
You were probably
I mean,
out
if
there.
that's an easy statement. If you're confused, I was fucking lost.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. It's there. It happens. I get it. Um, but at the same time, it's interesting because you don't know who this woman is that she's seeing the visions for. But at the same time, I'm saying to myself, you know what? That's probably her grandmother.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's what got me because you never really know if a vision is a good thing or a bad thing.
Right. Well, I mean, I tell you're
You know, you have an idea, but you're never really sure until
Right.
it comes to fruition.
Right.
With both visions that she had, I got nothing but bad vibes.
Right?
I got nothing but because I mean, the woman in the vision, although you can't see her clearly, what you can see, it made me think of Moon Knight.
A little bit, yeah.
And the evil, visions that were seen in that show. That was the feeling I got off of that. So I'm like,
yeah, I'd have to say
this
the
is
same
interesting.
thing. I really would. I would have to say the same thing. I was getting that Moon Knight vibe,
Mm-hmm.
but, and I stress the but, I already mentioned this during the Moon Knight section of the show where I specifically said too many different writers, too many different directors.
We running into the same issue with this show?
I think we are. I think we are running into this issue because this was directed by Mira Menon and it was written by Kate Gritmon. So right now you have different director for the first episode, different writer for the first episode, different director for the second episode, different writer. And then the last five, episode 3 is supposed to be the same one from this episode, but the last 4 episodes will all be written by the same 2 people. 2 to 3 people, give or take. So, story-wise, I see where it's going. Director-wise, I'm like, this should be one director's vision,
Right.
It really should. It should be one director's vision, and that's neither here nor there. We'll obviously get to that. Fast forward, there, Kamala asks about her grandmother, like, no tomorrow, and her mother kind of just shoots her down,
Yeah, she avoids the subject like
the
worse
plague.
than if it was the plague. Worse than if it was the plague. And that's where I was a little disappointed in this show and we talked about it last week with the bracelet and the story behind the bracelet. I thought they would bring that out a little bit more in this episode.
Yeah.
But it was almost like they totally avoided that subject.
Yeah.
Until we started delving into when they were at the little fair. But we haven't got there in the storyline yet, so I'll wait until we get there to drop that hint or that chunk of knowledge or whatever.
So from there, Kamala and her friend, or is it her cousin? Not 100% sure yet.
I'm not. They're related, but they're not sisters.
Right. They're obviously late. They're late for their mosque meeting, or their prayer anyway. And the Muslim religion in this show anyway, it shows that the mosque is actually partitioned for men in the front and women in the back. Listen, that unfortunately that's just the way it is for that religion. It's very rare that a woman has that type of authority, and it's always the men. But I did notice that they are able to actually talk and go back and forth. and Kamala obviously says something, and
But they're not supposed to.
right, they're not supposed to. And he mentions, you're not supposed to be, but doesn't, what's the word? Doesn't punish or
Admonish.
yeah, admonish or degrade or anything like that. Doesn't do any of that, which is cool.
Right.
But he uses
just a
it
quick
as
bit of knowledge for you.
Yeah.
7 different executive producers in this.
Yeah, but you're going to have those. You're going to have a lot of executive producers because you got to remember there's a whole big team that they have. And Kevin Feige's number one. So, anything under the MCU, he's the number one guy. He'll always be the number one guy. He was there with the first Spider-Man movie, Blade and all of them. Now he's just with
I saw
Marvel.
his name a couple of times.
Yeah. So he's there, Just saying, he's only the president of Marvel Studios. So, yeah, it's going to happen. Okay. So, from there, we see, Kamala's like, you should run for, the council and be the voice for the women. And they got a long road ahead of her in order to do that. So she's going to run and do whatever she needs to do. And
it was you that convinced me to do it.
Yeah. And from there, she kind of starts asking her family members about her grandmother. If you really want to talk about your grandmother, this is the person that you need to see here.
Well, then she called her.
Yes, and then called her grandmother to talk to her about her great grandmother.
Right.
Which apparently was a bad
all
thing.
the shame.
Yeah. Apparently that was a bad thing though, because her mother didn't like that. Her father was trying to break down her door, finding out who she's trying to talk to at such a late hour, so on and so forth, which I thought was hysterical.
Right.
I really did. The portrayal of a Pakistani family in America, I kind of picture that. Yeah, and I'm not saying that that's how all their families are. I'm not, because I don't know.
Right.
But
it's kind of like they actually sat down and went and interviewed family.
Right.
With as in depth as some of this stuff feels.
But it makes me feel like they're doing what an Italian family would do, or a Jew, like a Hasidic Jew would do, or these very religion-filled families would do. Everybody knows everybody's business. Well, did you talk to Kim? Because Kim said this about this person, and have you seen the way that this person dresses on this day? It is absolutely absurd. I don't even know how they got into that dress. And it just keeps going. But that's the way a lot of families around the world are.
She poured herself into that dress.
Yeah. But everybody knows everybody's business. Okay.
Well, especially, in the United States, because you have your Pakistani communities and you have your Afghani communities. So they're a small, tight-knit group.
Yep.
And you see that, you go to Chicago, you get, how they got like Little China and Little Hong Kong, and
you got your communities,
different little areas in just about all the big cities you have.
Yep, Little Italy,
and Little Italy,
Chinatown,
and things like that. So it's definitely not uncommon.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's there, and I'm to me, it's being portrayed very, very well, very well. Do I think it has anything to do with the story? Not so much.
I think it will eventually, and that's why they're doing this, is because they have to have that involvement established.
Yes. Absolutely.
As we get into one of these other episodes where everything kind of comes together and it all makes sense, because right now, both of us, and I'm sure a lot of other people, excuse me, who are watching this are going, you have this part of the show, you have this part of the show.
Which
when is it going to be this?
Yeah, you have to show.
You know, yeah.
And that's the biggest thing is you have to show this stuff. So aside from, questioning about the great grandmother and, who originally owned the, it's called a bangle, not even a bracelet, it's a bangle.
Bangle.
Right. They get to the part of, her grandmother her great grandmother kind of lost her way, so to speak, and was pushed out because she went and did whatever she needed to do. Right. And then things from Avenger Con started coming up and everything like that in questioning, and it's all over social media, all over. And the girl she saved is really milking this.
She's playing it up like a freaking porn star.
I'm just so glad she was there, and I can tell you it was this like hundreds and millions of views and likes and just killing social media for this girl. And of course, Kamala's like, I could start a YouTube channel. This would be fantastic. This would be great. Thinking outside the box. Mm-hmm. Completely understandable. I would be doing that too.
Sometimes but that also would be a bad thing, though.
It would be a very bad thing, especially because knowing me, I would accidentally slip and use my real name. But at the same time, okay, it's a callback to Spider-Man and Captain America Civil War, because Peter Parker had his own YouTube channel and he was showing himself rescuing cars, saving people, doing Spider-Man things online and using social media, and he was getting hits and doing whatever he needed to. So very cool callback. Small one, but very cool callback. And the other thing is both of these episodes are kind of molding the gaps between Endgame and now. And you have Scott Lang to thank for that. They kind of, bring him in and mention him and say that he started an Avengers podcast telling the story of what happened,
Yeah, they did say that.
Interviews and all that good stuff. So it's really cool that they're tying. And at the festival that they've got, do you remember what the festival was called? I can't remember the name of it, but it was a church festival. They cooked the food.
A mosque festival.
Well, yeah, it was a mosque festival, but it was a religion get together. It was everybody cooked food. They had things to sell. They were making things like the whole 9 yards. Kind of like a craft fair at a church.
It was called Eid al-Fitr. EIDAL-FITR.
Okay. Do we know what that is? Because they didn't really go into details of that.
Right.
Which I'm okay with. I mean, you really don't. But for somebody like me who doesn't understand that stuff, I kind of need to know.
Right.
Let's see here. Let me
hang on. I'm translating it now. Festival of Breaking Fast.
Okay. All right. So for example, I'll just use this from a Catholic point of view. During the Easter season, not all of us at all, but
right.
The priests, nuns, they all go into like 40 days of fasting. Mm-hmm. They do. It's not just like a week thing. Like it's a thing. It's a thing for Lent. So it's kind of very similar to that. It's the, we just did this, let's party and pig out and have a good time, you know. So it's more of a celebration of, hey, here we are. And at this celebration, oh yes, go ahead, JT, please.
It is the end of the Ramadan fast,
Okay,
one of the two major religious holidays of the Muslim calendar.
awesome. So there you go. It's the end of the Ramadan fast. Thank you, sir. See, Google, it's at our fingertips. It's wonderful.
I'm telling you.
It's wonderful. So at this celebration, a young boy slips off a balcony and is about to fall. And Kamala decides to suit up. She suited up. I don't know where she got her suit from, but she suited up.
It was in her backpack.
That helmet, come on, that's a paper mache helmet.
Yeah, it folds up and unfolds.
I love how you're playing devil's advocate on this one.
It's like, you know, she's still first generation Spider-Man where, you know, because she's still wearing the handmade, you know, one.
Right. She doesn't have her costume from the comic books just yet. So as the young boy is almost about to fall, she uses her powers and she saves the boy. Only there's a problem.
Well, before we get to the problem, we have to talk about the item that began trending because of him hanging there and her trying to distract him, asking him what are his favorite things that he likes to eat.
Yes.
And voila, ice cream pizza.
Ice cream pizza. I'm like,
ice cream pizza comes to be.
And it's funny because Kamala responded with, really? Ice cream on pizza? That's gross.
It's like, good, you got to try it. Yeah.
And then, you know, saves her. But she uses the powers that she was practicing with Bruno to basically see what type of powers that what she can and can't do. Has she tapped into her full potential? No, because on that same day, she was supposed to go to training, but she decided to take a driving lesson instead. Now, as that boy is falling and she's saving him, she manages to get off the platform that she created, and he slips and kind of breaks that little platform. I didn't think that was possible. But
Pause. I think what happened was she caught, because when her and Bruno talked before she went after school, before she went to do on her driving lesson.
Yeah.
Bruno was saying, I think today we need to work on concentration.
Yes.
That was what they were going to work on. So I think when he slipped, that caused her to lose her concentration a little bit, and that's why the platform shattered.
Yes. And from there...
Just a guess.
From there, she saves him. She protects him. She saves him from the fall. Lands on a car.
Kind of pulled a Peter Griffin on him when he goes sky flying. Yeah. Bounces down the tree, you know?
Yep. That's the whole...
Kind of one of those things.
Boom, boom, boom. Down he goes. But saved him. You know, obviously he got hurt in the process because he landed on a car, but not too bad. And from there, as she's now escaping the scene...
Freaking out.
She's saved by Cameron. Because she's being chased by the Department of Damage Control. Yay! Department of Damage Control.
Emerson, the two people, because they went and they brought the girl that got saved, they brought her in and questioned her.
Yes.
They are some evil, twisted individuals.
Well, you gotta remember, Department of Damage Control, they're not really police officers. They were instituted in Spider-Man Homecoming as Tony Stark's initiative to clean up everything that has to do with superheroes and whatnot.
Was that the one where the boat got split in half?
Yes.
The ferry? Okay. And that it was created after that because of that happening.
Yes. So from there, obviously they're still around. They're doing what they need to do, but now they're more established because it's actually probably 15 years, since everything that happened in Civil War and Avengers and so on and so forth. So you have this buildup. And at the same time, Cameron introduces Kamala to his mother, who just so happened to be the same woman in the visions that Kamala was seeing. And that made me think, something's going on here.
The way that his mother said, "It's a pleasure to meet you, Kamala."
Finally meet you.
Finally meet you.
Finally.
Gave me chills.
Yeah. It really
gave me chills.
It really did. And
it's hard to say that when you're telling somebody you're glad to finally meet them, that the way you said it sounded really evil and despicable and wicked.
Yeah.
But she nailed it, if that's what they were going for.
She really did. And that's one of the things that I'm like, I've kind of seen her before, but I'm trying to figure out where I've seen her.
She does look familiar.
And it's weird because she just looks familiar. And has it been anything that I've seen her in? I don't know. I don't think so. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. I really do hope that they kind of bring this into fruition with the whole Inhuman storyline, because she is an Inhuman. So I'm wondering if that bracelet is kind of like harnessing the Inhuman side of her. I'm not sure. I mean, they already mentioned that it's a part of her. So who knows?
You know what? That's a good. I like that.
Who knows? I mean,
I like that theory.
It's a good theory, but I'm not 100% sure if they're actually going to go. They're actually going to do what they're going to do.
It could be something along the lines of Red.
Okay.
Where, in the cartoon movie Red, about the red panda, there were objects that held the magical entity of the individual in a captive state.
Yes. And then free
so maybe back in the past this happened with the one that gave the family a bad name and everything, and they were able to harness that and trap it into that want to call it a bracelet.
It is the bangle.
Bangle. Thank you. And trap that in the bangle, because there's several times in the episode where that bangle has started to glow.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, maybe it was trapped. Maybe the superhero part of the family, of this family line, was trapped in that bangle, and now she's playing with it, so that is starting to come out. So maybe they could be, but it was trapped, and it's about to be released and show that she really is an Inhuman.
Which is a huge possibility. Huge possibility. So
but see, that's where the question of what is the freaking story behind this damn bangle?
Yeah. And they need to get to it a little bit faster.
That's what's driving me nuts.
They need to get to
that bangle is driving me. Yeah.
So, all in all, what would you give out of 1 to 5 bangles, since they're the bracelets that we're talking about, bangles? What would you give this week's episode?
I'll remember it now because I'll associate it with the group, the bangle.
You bangles.
Walk like an Egyptian, walk like a Pakistani.
Walk like an Egyptian.
It worked. Anyway, had a lot of issues with this episode.
There were a lot.
A lot of issues with this episode.
There were a lot.
The action scenes were good.
Which there wasn't much.
there wasn't much. Kay and I talked about it after the show, and it's like, you could take the 35 minutes, this 35 minutes of the show, and get rid of it, and just leave that 10 to 15 minutes that were left, and it would be great.
Yes.
But to me, it went too far outside of the storyline. They may prove me wrong in future episodes, but as of right now, they went too far outside. I'm giving the show 1.5.
Ooh, wow. That's the lowest rated you've ever given any episodes that we've been watching and doing a podcast on.
Yeah. There was just too much. And please don't take this the wrong way.
Nope. Won't take anything the wrong way.
But, well, I know you won't. I'm saying that for people that might watch this. It felt like they were trying to shove the Muslim faith and those things down our throats in this. And I don't like that.
Okay.
And it's just the way it came across to me.
Sure.
I have nothing against Muslims. I have nothing against the Muslim faith or anything. But it was just too much for this episode.
Okay.
The few action scenes that they had were great. I loved when she was saving the kid and you did the Peter thing as saving him and lands on the car and all that. But it just wasn't enough. I struggled watching this episode as much as I struggled watching some of the Moon Knight episodes.
Okay. No, fair enough.
And that's why I say I can't give it more than 1.5.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, for me, comic wise, obviously everybody knows that my rating is going to be a little bit higher than JT's because comic books, I see things a little bit differently than he does. I can tell you what's what, where things are, so on and so forth. For me,
I don't think you'll be much higher than me, though.
Yeah, for you it was 1.5. For me, it's a 3. It is. It's a 3 because I like I do like what they're trying to portray. I think they're doing it very well. I think the screen chemistry between all the actors is phenomenal. They really are. That's not even in question.
Right.
I love that the second episode in, they're already trying to do a whole training thing and get her to, do what she needs to do. So kudos to that.
But then she got a crush and everything else went to the lights.
Well, you have to have the love interest. But yeah, I'm really hoping they redeem some of the stuff that they're going to be doing in the next couple of episodes. Will they? I don't know. Should they? Yes, there are some things. But flat out, I will tell you flat out that to me, this is it is a very high approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It is. But I just don't think they're getting to the point quick enough. Yes, you have to drag it out. Yes, you have to have the drama. Yes, you have to have the love interest, so to speak. I don't know why you have to have a freaking love interest all the time.
You
You really don't.
You really don't. I mean, obviously, driving is going to come into play.
Yes.
Somewhere in this show because of how much they're zoning in on that driving in the first two.
Absolutely.
It's going to come into play somewhere.
100%. So for me, I'm giving it a 3. I'm hoping in the next couple of episodes as we see that something else starts happening, more is revealed, and I really, really want to see her comic book outfit. I do.
Right.
I want to see that outfit, not the Captain Marvel outfit. I want to see the Ms. Marvel outfit.
Right. Now, they kind of played around a little bit because my biggest issue, as we know, is the story behind the bangle. They kind of dug into it a little bit there towards the end of the festival.
Yep.
When Kamala was sitting and was talking with all the ladies, she was supposed to be trying to convince them to vote for her friend for the council, but she was really digging for information about her great grandmother.
Yep.
And, like women sometimes do, and guys do it too.
Yep.
You know, the jaws started flapping. The innuendos and all those things kind of started flying out.
Yes.
But it ended abruptly because the kid slipped and fell out the window.
Right.
They need to get the story behind the bangle out.
Yes. And quicker.
And very, very quickly. They need to do it in the first half of the show in this next episode.
Yes. But only time will tell. Only time.
Only time will tell. Yeah. I mean, what does my opinion count? I don't know about. So, you know.
No, you're an outsider looking in, my friend.
Right.
Outsider
But
looking in.
to Marvel, I'm a.
Yes.
The hell is this guy?
But then, of course, we transition from Ms. Marvel to Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 5. Holy crap. Holy crap. First and foremost, for all those Star Wars fans that are bashing this series, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, shut the hell up.
If you think that this series is supposed to be about Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader / Anakin Skywalker and their untold story, go back and watch the prequels. It's not about that at all. It's about Obi-Wan Kenobi and his time in exile. You could do something with Yoda if you wanted to. Sitting on Dagobah by himself.
I would watch that.
But that's where I'm going with this, okay?
Yeah, they
you just don't get it. You don't get it at all.
You people with the dumbass racial innuendos and
oh my
and all
God,
that crap, and people quit bitching, sit back, watch, and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
What it's there for. It's for your entertainment.
Yes, we're
to help you escape from the world, not to sit there and be tortured by a TV show.
Yeah.
If it bothers you that much, don't freaking watch it.
And not for nothing, they showed you this episode. This first episode starts with a flashback of Obi-Wan and Anakin dueling, a lightsaber duel.
Which, by the way, the makeup on that Anakin was terrible.
But you got to remember, he's over 20 years older than when he originally played Anakin as a Padawan.
Yeah, but it was terrible. God,
I don't even think
I was looking at him going, oh.
Yeah, but I don't even think they tried to make him look younger. I really don't. I don't think they tried to make him look younger at all. But
yeah, they didn't.
But you got to remember, this is at a time when Attack of the Clones had already happened. Mm-hmm. Or almost happened. They're training in the temple. He's still a Padawan learner, and Obi-Wan is trying to teach him a lesson when it comes to the fighting with a lightsaber. And I think it's phenomenal the way throughout the episode you're seeing these flashbacks, and then it cuts to Vader right away.
And that's just it. Is throughout this entire episode, they sit there and as he's either trying to escape or trying to fight Vader's people that he sent in and everything else, the lesson that he was trying to teach Anakin during this was that he needs to learn patience when it comes to these kinds of things.
Yes.
And he's using his knowledge of Anakin against him in order to save as many people as he can and escape himself.
Hands down. You know, but before we even see Anakin and Obi-Wan in the past dueling, we cut to Reva walking onto the Darth Vader's Star Destroyer, the Devastator, which, if you didn't know the Devastator name, that's the big one. That's the Super Star Destroyer. That's the monster you didn't see until Empire Strikes Back. Apparently,
it's the supersized fries of the
apparently it's there. You just don't see it. Because the Devastator. It's a big one. You know, it's not the huge, like, monster superstar. It's still a Star Destroyer, and it's a big one. It's the same exact one that they used in A New Hope. So that's his ship until he gets upgraded. He gets upgraded in Empire Strikes Back for a new one. But she's on the bridge of the Devastator, and she flat out tells Vader that the tracker worked. And they're on Jabim. Now things are going to get interesting because he gives Reva the rank of Grand Inquisitor.
Gives her what she has been working.
Yep. Puts the insignia right on her. No questions asked. None. And of course, that's when he says, set course for Jabim. We're going for them. We're taking them out. We're going to take them all out. However, at the same time, Roken is on the Jabim, and, well, you know, we know everything is going to be going down, and, whoo, boy. So we've got Roken, we've got Kenobi, we got Princess Leia, we've got Tala, and we got Sully. They're all there, not me. The other Sully, the Sully in Star Wars. But at least there's a Sully in Star Wars.
And Obi-Wan ran into a very interesting person.
Yes, he did. He did.
When they landed and he came off with it.
He did. He ran into his good buddy, Haja Estri. Yes.
And for those of you who don't know who that is, it's the fake Jedi guy from Episode 1.
Fake Jedi that is now being hunted because he was helping Obi-Wan Kenobi out. And, the fact that he was able to flee Dayu and be on the run, he even said, I got a bounty out for me now, so thanks.
I like his other line. I kind of know what it feels like to be a Jedi now.
Yeah, I got a bounty on me.
They're coming after my ass too.
And then he says, the greatest thing that any scum would say. Plus, I hope to get some business opportunities out of these people.
Right. Scammers never stop being scammers. They're always looking for another scam to create.
Always. From there, Roken and Kenobi are talking, and he says that he's got to get Leia back to Alderaan on a transport, and that's when Roken explains that the path, the people on this base have been waiting for months to get out of there. They really have. They're all refugees. They're all running from the Empire. They're all trying to get to safety. They don't want to be under the Empire rule, which, if you think about it, is still, it's 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. This is the rebellion.
Yep.
This is the rebellion's in full force. They're very few, but they're there. And you don't know any of the other background details of any of the other systems or the people that are in it. They just know they don't want to be under the Empire rule because the Emperor is a dick.
Yeah. Well, and he says, we're using old trader route. We're using an old trader route, and it's getting ready to be shut down. This is going to be one of the last chances they have to get out.
Yes. And from there, Vader, who's almost there, flat out says, shut the base down. Go get him. Shut it down. And that's when we see Lola, and we knew she was tracked, she was bugged anyway. Lola escapes Leia's pocket and flies around and locks the base down. Does what they needed to do.
Yeah, I mean, what she did was she went and she basically flipped the breakers so that they couldn't open the doors for the ship to get out.
Yeah, she hacked the system.
Yeah.
Basically, she went to the main power bays and just hacked the system. And that's when you see Reva and her stormtroopers now about to lay siege. But before that, we see another flashback of Obi-Wan and Anakin sparring. They're dueling. They're doing some pretty good stuff.
Still the same. It's still the same fight.
Yeah, it's still the same fight, but it's part of the lesson that he was trying to teach Anakin. Okay, and he's ignoring. And even Anakin, he's trying to get Obi-Wan to quit. I've got you beat. I've got you beat. And he says, he even kind of gets aggressive with his fighting, but we know this about Anakin. Anakin always got aggressive. He always let his feelings come out, which in Jedi terms is bad. But at the same time, it's also a good thing because they always say, search your feelings, reach out, use the Force to your advantage, and so on and so forth. So in their case, Anakin just kind of does it blindly, especially as a Padawan learner. He just does things on impulse, which he's been talked to about numerous times. We know this, okay? And
until you get that under control, you will never be a Jedi.
Right. But we'll get into that in a little bit because Kenobi flat out warns him that the Jedi goal is to defend life, not take it. Which is true. It's to defend life, help others. So for a Padawan learner, for learning that's a good thing. But, they're still sparring. And from there, he kind of ignores what's going on and basically just starts going at him even more now. Their blades cross and it cuts right to Vader. I was like, I love these transitions.
Yeah.
Most Star Wars transitions are the swipes. You got a swipe on an angle, you got a gradient swipe, you've got a circular swipe, or they do all these different swipes because that's the Star Wars transition.
Right.
It is. Watch any Star Wars movie, when they're going from one planet to another or one scene to another, it is always a wipe transition. Some type of wipe transition, okay? Or
Not
a gradient transition. So, you'll see a circle start forming in the middle and it'll zoom up or it'll zoom down, but you'll see that gradient around the side. Same with the swipes. And it's a blur effect, so it just automatically one scene to another. So the fact that they're doing these transitions, I'm like, wow, this is out of the box for Star Wars, but at the same time, really cool. And it still matches because it's still technically a wipe. Okay?
To me, it's almost like a snap transition.
It kind of is, but if you look real close, it's the timing of it.
Yeah.
So that's where me as a film geek, I'm like, yay, this is excellent. So from there, Vader says, attack, go get them. Sends the troops. Reva goes down there and they flat out say, they're on their way. We can't get out of here. We can't open the doors. Roken's, starting to get upset. And Kenobi's like, get me all your fighters. We need to do something. We need to take a stand. We need to hold them off. And with the base locked down, stormtroopers are trying to break in. He decides that, you know what? We're going to have some fun with this one. Because he knows Anakin. He does. He knows Anakin. Hands down. Inside and out. He taught Anakin everything he knew.
All rushing into a China shop.
Yep. So, from there, as the troops are, there's more than just stormtroopers. There's also purge troopers. We've only really seen them here and there.
There's only a couple of them, though.
Yeah,
wasn't that many.
You got to remember, the purge troopers are, they're more elite stormtroopers,
right?
But they're all in black.
They're like the special forces of
yeah, kinda. But they're also think of it this way: they are more Darth Vader's personal stormtroopers.
Mhm.
Okay, which is why they wear the black. You know, it's a black suit, but they still have the armor like a stormtrooper. But they're more in line with him, the Sith, the Inquisitors. Like, you're not going to get a general in the Imperial Army commanding these guys, because it's got to come from either Vader or an Inquisitor, which is why they use them. Okay. So for those that don't know and you've seen the Black Stormtroopers, that's what they are. They're purge troopers. All right. Now, from there, Reva joins them. They do what they need to do. And before all hell breaks loose, Obi-Wan excuses himself and goes off in the distance and answers a call from Bail Organa, Leia's father, and says, okay, listen, I know we really shouldn't be talking. We really shouldn't be doing the communication. But because there is a lack of communication, I'm wondering if everything is okay and if Vader found Leia. And if that's happened, I'm going to Tatooine to protect the boy.
Right. And I like that they did that.
Absolutely.
I like that they did that because, one, it makes the whole situation more believable. Of a father whose daughter's been kidnapped.
Yes.
You know, he's like, I understand that we shouldn't communicate, but we got to let me know something.
Yeah, we have to. And from there, Tala walks in, sees the hologram, but doesn't really question it. And she flat out tells Obi-Wan why she's doing what she's doing. You know, yes, she was part of the Imperial Army, but she didn't believe in what they were doing. And seeing them killing younglings or force-sensitive parents and children was not what she signed up for. So anything that she could do to help that is a good thing. And then she showed her the holster. And she had a check mark for every force-sensitive person that she helped save and get to safety, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very cool storyline, and it's reminiscent of
the old westerns.
Well, of the old westerns, but also the black guy story.
Yes,
I can't think of his name right now because they went in to the town and they were killing everybody, and Vader or not Vader, but Ren said kill them all.
Yeah,
and he couldn't do it.
Right, he couldn't do it.
So, similar storylines under completely different circumstances, totally different time periods.
Yeah.
Where it shows you that storyline with the Empire and with the First Order.
Yep.
It runs all the way through on that storyline, which I really like.
Absolutely.
That's what I thought of when I heard her story and saw the holster and everything. I thought that was a really good throwback and throw forward.
Yes.
To how things go within the Empire.
And now from there, though, now we're seeing that the outer door is buckling, and Obi-Wan tells them, "How much time do you need?" Well, we could get this fixed in 4 hours. He's like, "You got one."
Yeah.
One. Get these people out of here. Get them on the ship.
We got to get up in there. We got to get these doors open.
Yep.
And I can't go up there.
Yep. So from there, Leia steps up, says, "I can do it."
Give me a ladder.
Up. She gets in that little area, and she's doing her thing. She's trying to find around, and Haja's protecting her. Well, watching out for her. Not protecting her, watching out for her. He even said, "I'm not a babysitter."
Right.
And he goes, "You will make sure nothing happens to her." Yes, absolutely. You're right.
Okay.
Okay. And Kenobi gets to the doors that are about to buckle, and Reva can sense that he's there. And this is what's really cool. They're whispering to each other. Now, mind you, these are bulkhead doors.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who's been in the military,
siege weapon
Yeah.
firing at it, for this entire time, so it's weakened it.
Yes.
But he actually Obi-Wan actually told the leader of the group there to tell her that he wanted to talk to her.
Yes. And
which I was like, how the hell is he going to do that?
well, as he's buying time, or old school pirate parlay, who invented that damn term? He is talking to Reva, and he figured it out that Reva is a survivor of Order 66 and was actually in the temple when Anakin went on his rampage, killing all the younglings. So she was weak then. She was weak. She gave in to weakness. Yeah. She went with him instead. And from there, Obi-Wan flat out says, you do realize that he's coming to me, not me going to him. And he turns her for a little bit. And you could see it in her eyes that what
started questioning.
Yeah, that what Obi-Wan was saying to her, it was true, because in reality, I'm not going to Vader. You are bringing him to me. And Vader was on his way to the planet. So now think about this. Just think about it. This whole scene right here is the lesson that Obi-Wan was teaching Anakin. You go in head first. You use your, you don't use your gut. You just go. You don't think things out. So for him, he says, we need to kill him. And he'll never see it coming. Which is true.
He'll be so zoned in on me.
Right.
That he won't see you coming.
Right. And, and don't get me wrong, like, you can see that Reva doesn't really trust Obi-Wan, but at the same time,
she's thinking
about it, because he's saying, you are the key right now, because he's blinded for his hatred for me. And remember, this goes back to the first, second episode? I am what you made me. He's very blinded by hate right now. Very blinded. Okay?
Hatred and the need for revenge.
Yes. Hands down. Need for revenge. And it's funny because even at the conversation, she asks him, why didn't you stop him? Why weren't you there?
Where were you?
Where were you?
3 planets away.
Well, but that's the thing.
Under attack by clones.
As a youngling, she doesn't know that.
Yeah.
She doesn't know that he was off-world being attacked by his own clones. Swimming in the water. Because we saw it in Attack of the Clones. They shot at him. He was on a cliff. And him and his lizard that he was riding went crashing down into the water, and they couldn't find a body. And even the clone troopers were like, nobody could have survived that fall.
Yep.
Which is true. Okay? So, when
you hear that line, you know somebody survived that fall.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course. Obviously, we've seen him. And from there, Haja... It's funny because she decides to cut through the door with her lightsaber, completely misses
that blew
Obi-Wan.
my mind.
And
that blew my mind.
She did it so quick, and he just moved back just as fast. He saw it coming.
And I mean, just think about it. Okay, they've been sitting here for at least 20 minutes.
Give or take.
Blasting this door with a freaking siege cannon.
Yes.
And then Siege Cannon has hardly done anything to that door.
Yes.
When they show that door, when Tala, or when she comes up for the conversation with Obi-Wan,
Yep.
you can see the damages that has been done. And it's not a lot.
No, it's not.
You would think with that big of a freaking cannon, getting blasted with double shots every time they fire, would have done a lot more damage to that door than it did. And for her to sit there with that, and for her to sit there and just shove that freaking lightsaber through and take it down like a freaking slicing warm butter.
Yep.
Blew my mind.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't know why, but it did.
Absolutely. And then from there, a gunfight breaks out. Now we've got the stormtroopers breaching the door. You got all the resistance fighters on the run. They're all going backward. And Ned B, that big giant robot that was Tala's, he's shooting back. And Tala's shooting back. And Tala gets hit. You know,
well, and they were doing the delays. It's the tactic that they were using.
Yes.
Is a tactic that has been used since the Roman days.
Time and time again. History repeats itself.
Where what you do is you funnel them down.
Yep.
And it turns into a battle of attrition.
Yep.
You funnel them down to where they don't have a lot of area to move. You concentrate your fire in this area. And when they start getting closer, because they will, but when they get to a certain point, you fall back to your next position and you do it again.
Yep.
And they had 3 fallback positions.
And you keep going backward.
Yeah, they had 3 fallback positions. The third one was right outside the hangar door.
Yes.
And that was where she got hit.
Yes. Now, from there, we've got them moving back. We've got Haja talking to Leia saying, you got to find the red breaker. You know, that's what's going to do it. And we get to the point where Tala's getting hit and she's down. Her robot, Ned B, is now covering her and protecting her.
Yeah, he's been hit a couple of times himself.
Yeah, but he's blocking her, which is great.
Right.
You know, it just goes to show the service that the droid had for her, you know, and it kind of makes the droid a little bit more human, too.
Yep.
Then she takes out a thermal detonator and sets it off.
Tells him go.
Boom. Boom. She sacrifices herself, her robot, and takes out a good number of stormtroopers at the same time. And they finally get to the inner sanctum.
And what was her name? Tala saw the thermal detonator just before. Said, run!
Yep. And so they get to the inner sanctum. All the fighters are there. The doors are closed. And they say, well, where's Tala? And Kenobi just didn't say anything. At the same time...
Well, Leia was asking.
Yep. Well, Leia got the doors open, but she also found Lola and found the tracker in it that was causing Lola to do what she needed to do. So she fixed that. And
yeah, it attacked her.
Yep. Fixed her, and it had Lola reactivate things, and she was plugging stuff in, and boom, everything opened up, which was so cool. And then we're back to parlaying with Reva
on the
again.
Bus!
You know, now it's Kenobi and Reva again, face to face. He'll never see it coming.
He wants to buy them time for them to get on the ship and get out, so he surrenders himself to Tala.
Yep.
And I love the little conversation that they have again. Both conversations that we had, if you sit down and you listen to it, whether you know Star Wars or you don't know Star Wars, both conversations are still very, very interesting.
Yes.
In the things that are revealed about both characters, not just Tala, but about both characters.
Yes. So Kenobi surrenders himself. He does. He surrenders himself. And we see another flashback. So as we're, he surrenders himself. He's with Reva. Reva's doing her thing. talking to him. We see a flashback of him and Obi-Wan fighting again. And this flashback has a little bit more detail as to the way Anakin is. And he gets to the point where Anakin does some type of really cool maneuver and gets his lightsaber. Gets Obi-Wan's lightsaber. And Kenobi says these exact words. Your need for victory blinds you. And in a lot of ways, it's true. Whatever Anakin does, he needs to win.
Very prophetic.
Yeah, he needs to win. He kind of like if you're a, I'll make this as easy as pie. Tom Brady on the Patriots needed to win. Aaron Rodgers needed to win. Brady went to the Buccaneers. He needed to win. He needed to prove himself. The need to win and no matter what, had to win, was there. So think of it as sports teams. You need to win in order to be the champion. You have to win, you have to win, you have to win. And when you lose, shit, what did I do different?
You can even use the Colorado Avalanche with Game 3 of the Stanley Cup tonight. That Colorado leads the series 2-0, wiped them out 7-0 in Game 2.
There you go.
But their motto has been, to be the best, you have to beat best. And right now they're playing the Tampa Bay Lightning, who won the last Stanley Cup.
Absolutely. And from there, we flash forward back to the present. Vader's on the planet, and he goes to Reva. Where's Kenobi? He's in the base. And Vader just walks right in ahead of her. Mm-hmm. Because he's determined to bring him in. He is so blinded by his hate for Kenobi that he wants to be the one. No, this is my victory, no one else's. Okay? And at the same time, Kenobi frees himself, and he's now distracting Vader. Gets to the inner sanctum, finds Leia, Lola, they work together, the doors open up, they get everybody on, and they flat out say that Tala didn't survive, and we need to get out of here now. We need to get out of here now. And with everything going on, we now see something back again, the past, the dueling, and again, this is the lesson. Okay? He manages to get away from Skywalker in this lesson and tells him that he is a great warrior. But his need to prove himself will be his undoing. That this is the reason why there are other ways to fight. It's not.
And then steals his lightsaber.
Yep, steals his lightsaber.
Right out of his hand.
But gets him to the point of, this is why you fail. Let me show you how to do it right. So we have everything now in the past. Bring it to the present. Vader's on a rampage. He wants Kenobi. He wants to bring him in. He wants to give him to the Emperor. He wants him dead. But he's blinded.
I will bring him in myself.
Yep. But he's blinded by his hatred for Kenobi, that he doesn't think about what's happening. And at the same time, the ship is starting to go away. It's starting to fly up. We've seen it before, not just in the new movies, but we've seen it in Clone Wars and everything else like that. Vader uses the Force to pull the ship down. Because, listen, Vader's one of the strongest Sith Lords out there. He's also one of the strongest
I don't
Jedis.
remember him doing this before.
Oh yeah, he pulled that whole ship down.
Well, in this episode, yeah, but I don't remember him
No, this was in
pulling
Clone Wars.
ships in before.
A lot of the Jedis have done something similar to this, where they've stopped ships from escaping using the Force and pulling them back down. They have done this, and even in the new ones, Rey was doing it, and then she used Force lightning and blew up one of the ships that she thought Chewbacca was on. You know. But
Okay, good to go.
Vader brings the ship down and just rips it open like a can of sardines. He just ripped everything out, hyperdrive out, blew a hole through it. He's tearing this thing apart to get to Kenobi.
And it's empty.
And yep,
here comes another ship. There goes another ship.
Ship escapes, and Reva goes to stab Vader with a lightsaber, but now there's a fight going on between the two of them. And he's using the Force. They're fighting back and forth, which I thought was cool. I
never realized,
great.
And I hate to keep stepping on you, but I never realized just how strong Vader was.
Until now.
Until this episode. I mean, for him to bring a Star Cruiser back down when it is on launch.
Yep.
I mean, that in itself is amazing. But just the fact that during this fight, all he's doing is going.
Yep, just moving
little flicks of the wrist or flicks of the finger, you know, and Kyle is being thrown across the room.
Sure.
Just from him going. Whoop.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, man, this dude is powerful.
And even the fight between him and Reva, you know, between the two of them, they're going at it. She even does the double hilt spinning mode, and he rips it apart.
He stopped it.
He stopped it, ripped it apart. So now he's got two blades, throws one down at her feet. They're still going at it, and she is getting disarmed left and right. He is basically throwing her for a loop. And we finally see flashback of Reva, all her memories of him killing the younglings. And then
he's walking towards her like he was in the flashback.
Yep, just like in the flashbacks, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
It was a great callback. And he stabs her with her own lightsaber right through the torso. Okay? And then all of a sudden, the real Grand Inquisitor comes up. Walks right up from behind him. You know, we thought he was dead. Apparently not. And he says, revenge is a wonderful fuel for the will to live.
Mm-hmm.
And for the Sith, revenge... That's a big thing. That's a big thing for them. And he says, I have no longer use for you, and she's casted out of the Inquisitors, and we think she's going to be dying of her wounds, but no.
Leaves her in the gutter to die.
Yeah, leaves her in the gutter to die, and they walk away. Now, her lightsabers are still there, though. Her lightsabers are still there. And from there, we see Kenobi with Leia. They're all on the ship. They're all getting away. And Roken comes over, tells Kenobi that the hyperdrive is broken, and that the Empire is still chasing us. They're on our tail. And it's funny because at the same time, when Kenobi was going to give himself up, he gave the communicator and pretty much everything else that he needed to Haja with Leia to get on the ship. You know, protect her, get her home. She needs to get to Alderaan. And the communicator fell onto the ground, and Reva picked it up. She was still alive. She crawled over to it,
found it,
picked it up, hit play, but the message was completely broken. So there's a lot of things that are being said but are getting broken up. And yes, the boy is one of them.
And one other word.
I'm going here You know,
Tatooine.
going to Tatooine and then protect Owen and the boy, but it's completely broken. So the message that he had from earlier, completely chopped up and broken. And then we see Luke sleeping in his bed on Tatooine. And then the episode's over. So, yeah, but at the same time, Kenobi's like, there's something wrong, but I'm sure it's probably nothing. Which is a huge possibility.
He knows it's not.
He knows
he
it's
said
not.
That. Yeah, he said that to assure Rocco and Leia.
Yes.
Okay, it's probably nothing. But inside, he knows there's a lot going on.
There's a
lot of problems.
A lot of good problems going on. So, of this episode, JT, how many lightsabers would you give it?
I want to hear yours first.
Ooh, switching it up. Well, for me, I'm going 4.5. Because the way they tied it together, the backstory of Obi-Wan teaching Vader / Anakin that you're too impulsive, you need to chill out, you need to, plan it. There's other ways than just going in and fighting and destroying your enemy, because you don't want to do that all the time. You want to be able to question them if you need to, because we're protectors of peace. We're not out to kill people. That's not our way. We preserve life. I love that they did that, because it fit perfect for this episode. And again, this is not about Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is about Obi-Wan Kenobi getting back into the swing of things and protecting Leia and doing what he needs to do to preserve life. It just so happens that Anakin is a thorn in his side. Duh.
Yeah, I mean, they have to. What I like about it is it's an explanation of what happened between Sith and New Hope with Obi-Wan Kenobi. What happened during that time frame?
Yes.
With him when the Resistance was dead.
Yep.
And pretty much dead, and and all that. I agree with you there.
So for me, I'm giving it 4.5 lightsabers. What about you?
Now, I want to throw one line out at you.
Okay.
Okay, I agree with everything you said. I love the flashbacks, backstory, the lessons being taught, and everything else. But I want to throw one line at you.
Yep.
Do you really think I wouldn't know?
Yeah.
Do you really think I wouldn't know?
He was wise.
That is the line.
You against me.
That is the line that Vader said immediately after Reva tried to stab him, and he stopped it by simply going, whoop. Like that.
Flip of the fingers.
And he stopped her attack. I want you to think about something. I want you to think about something.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
You look back at this show, at this episode.
Yes.
From the time Vader landed on the planet and headed right for the hangar.
Yep.
Stopped the ship, pulled it down, tore it apart, and everything else. Every bit of it was an act.
Was an act?
Was an act. Because he knew what was coming before he landed on the planet. He knew what was coming when he came walking off of the ship.
Oh, yeah.
And went up to Reva, and Reva told him he's in there.
Yeah.
He knew then that she was going to betray him.
Absolutely.
But he had to keep up the persona of being totally obsessed with him. So he learned the lesson that Obi-Wan teaching him in all the flashbacks. But he used that to his advantage. Yes, he still tried to get Obi-Wan and everything else. That was still a main part of his mission. But at the same time, he wanted to get rid of the traitor.
Yes, exactly.
So he learned the lesson, and he played her.
Yep.
He played Reva like a freaking puppeteer.
Oh, big time.
That right there and the fight scene between him and Reva, I'm giving it 4.9 stars.
Ooh, almost a 5.
4.9 stars.
So close.
I sat there thinking about it after the show because we went off of DirecTV. We was watching Family Guy.
Yep.
But I was sitting here and I wasn't really watching Family Guy because I was thinking about that scene.
Mm-hmm.
That scene stuck in my head, and I finally figured out why.
Yeah.
As we were talking about it tonight, he played Reva.
Oh, without a doubt.
Big time, but it didn't click till just now that he played her the entire time. It wasn't that he realized it just a few seconds before she attacked or something. Like he knew the entire time before he set foot on the planet.
Well, think about it. Think
it was going to happen.
Think of it this way. Her hatred for Kenobi was not her hatred. Think of it.
Well, her hatred for him was because he wasn't there to save them during Order 66.
Right. And for that...
But there was more of a hatred for Anakin.
Yep, because of everybody that he killed that she knew and loved.
All her friends. Yep.
You know? So,
I mean, to me, it was one of the best episodes of any, and I'm including The Mandalorian in this, and you know how much I love every single episode of The Mandalorian.
I do.
One of the best episodes of any that they have put out in the Star Wars series of shows. Not movies, but TV shows. That there's been. And that is why it got a 4.9. If they keep going like this,
it's going to be good.
There's going to be an episode that gets a 5.
It's going to be good. Well, I mean, there's only one more episode now.
Can it make a 5?
It's possible.
That's the question. Can it get 5?
Just to paint the picture to everyone who is a so-called Star Wars fan, Obi-Wan Kenobi's Rotten Tomatoes, 83% fresh. And again, I've mentioned this during Marvel, and I've mentioned this during Star Wars. One director's vision.
Yep.
Doesn't matter who the screenwriters are. It's one director's vision.
And it's been very, very consistent in all of these shows, in all of the Star Wars episodes that they put out. The vision has been very, very consistent all the way through.
Hands down. And you can tell. You can tell. It is good.
There's a cohesiveness. And that, I think that's the difference between the Star Wars saga and all the new episodes and the MCU. Is they're both doing the same thing because they're both filling in gaps, time gaps, characters and everything throughout the MCU and throughout Star Wars universe.
Yep.
But the cohesiveness of the Star Wars episodes, so much tighter, so much more involved than what I'm seeing with the MCU. Now, Falcon and Winter Soldier, in my opinion, was razor tight with the MCU mission and storyline and everything else. The other ones, not so much.
Yeah.
But every single one of the Star Wars ones have been dead on in that track.
Yep. So it's gonna be good. So that, my friends, is this week's edition of Avenger Pretenders, where we not only do Marvel but Star Wars as well, because hey, they're on at the same time this time. So for everybody that joined us, thank you very much. And by the way,
before you close it out, I want to give comment to Nikaya's comment in the chat room, and she says, I don't understand that people have the hatred that people have for Reva. I think she is phenomenal as fuck.
We don't understand.
She has been. We don't understand it either. It makes absolutely no sense. For me, she has been one of the top characters in these 5 episodes.
Oh, hands down. Hands down.
Other than Obi-Wan, Leia, and Anakin
Yeah,
or Vader.
hands
I mean,
down.
it's just, she's awesome.
And we'll see what happens as we continue to go forward, which is wonderful. It's wonderful, I tell you, wonderful.
They've set the ground. They've set the groundwork for Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2.
If they do one. Right now, it's only
So
6
that's what I'm saying.
episodes.
They've got the groundwork set for it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what happens
Oh.
after that. With that being said, we are live tomorrow for the Sully Show at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you for everybody tuning in tonight. For JT and myself, we will see you next Monday for episode 6 of Obi-Wan Kenobi and episode 3 of Ms. Marvel. It's gonna be a whopper. That's for sure.
These double whammies are killing.
I know, right? So painful. It really is. It's painful. It's hard.
It is.
It's hard. So we will see you guys tomorrow. Stick around for a raid. Fare thee well, people, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Bye-bye.
That's not the one I wanted. That's the one
Have
I
a good
wanted.
night, Carol. See you tomorrow.
We're gonna raid. Gotta do a raid.
It works
do a
out with
raid.
the 4 people.
Gonna do a raid. Get the music going here to get us out. And we are gonna raid. Let's see. We're gonna raid Short Stuff. Short Stuff is on. She is playing. What is she playing? We Happy Few. We Happy Few. So go over, say hi. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody, and enjoy the raid. Make sure you use Punchers Unite in her chat room and give her some love because she is awesome. Just saying, putting it out there. Later, people. Later.